South Dakota State men's basketball, 20-12 overall, 12-4 in the Summit League regular season. Tonight, they're in the Summit League tournament semifinals, looking for the right to take on either Denver or Omaha in the Summit League championship game tomorrow evening. Hello, everyone. Brayden Byers here, sports director for KSDJ 90.7. We're here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center Summit League Championships basketball action for you today between the top-seeded South Dakota State Jackrabbit men's basketball team and the number 4-seeded St. Thomas Tommies. St. Thomas coming into this one 20-12 as well overall, the same as the Jackrabbits. The differences in the Summit League season, 9-7 overall are the Tommies. Taking a look back at these two teams' last matchup, 77-72 win over St. Thomas back in Brookings in Frost Arena. St. Thomas also dropping their game at home 81-80 over in St. Paul at Schoenecker Arena. We're going to go ahead and pause for a little bit. National anthems and starting lineups are coming your way next. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. But prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Back here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Denny Sanford Premier Center, the site of the Summit League Basketball Championships. Number 1, South Dakota State. Number 4, St. Thomas. Coming up here in the Summit League Championship semifinals, the right to go on to the Summit League Championship game being played tomorrow at 8:30 on the line here tonight. Well, St. Thomas making their way into the semifinals after their win over North Dakota State in the quarterfinals. 68-58 win over the Bison. Had the Tommies. The leading scorer for them, Kendall Blue, 15 points for him, shooting 6 of 7. Also had Ryan Dufault with 14. He was 5 of 6 from the field. And Carter Bjerke with 12 points, 4 of 5 for him overall. South Dakota State making their way into the semifinals by way of a 79-63 quarterfinal win over Oral Roberts. The Golden Eagles getting bounced from the tournament. SDSU's leading scorer, Luke Apple, 18 points leading the way. 5 total Jackrabbits in double figures scoring-wise. In that game, we had William Kyle III with 16, 7 of 12 shooting for him. 15 for Zeke Mayo, 6 of 13. 14 for Charlie Easley, 4 of 7 from the field. And Kalen Gary, 10 points on the dot, 4 shots made out of 7 attempts. So that's how we got here. Time to take a look at both the teams' starters here for this one. Starting off with St. Thomas, a 6'6" sophomore guard from Woodbury, Minnesota. Number 1, Kendall Blue, a 6'2" sophomore guard from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Number 11, Drake Dobbs. 6'4" graduate guard from Chicago, Illinois. Number 24, Raheem Anthony. A 6'7" graduate forward from Shakopee, Minnesota. Number 4, Brooks Allen. And a 6'7" graduate guard from Chaska, Minnesota, right there in the Twin Cities. Number 5, Parker Bjorklund. Tommies coached by Johnny Tower, the longtime Tommies coach, navigating their way in this transition from Division III to Division I. It is still in effect, so if the Tommies were to win the tournament, if they can get past SDSU tonight and either Denver or Omaha tomorrow night, the person that would represent the Summit League in the NCAA tournament would revert back to the regular season champion, which of course is South Dakota State. Speaking of South Dakota State, let's go over their starters real quick. A 6' senior guard from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Number 1, Matt Mims. A 6'4" junior guard from Lawrence, Kansas. Number 2, Zeke Mayo. A 6'1" senior guard from Lincoln, Nebraska, Charlie Easley. A 6'8" redshirt senior forward from Marshalltown, Iowa, number 13, Luke Apple. And a 6'9" sophomore forward from Bellevue, Nebraska, number 42, William Kyle III. Jackrabbits are coached by Eric Henderson, the coach for the SDSU Jackrabbits for the last couple of years. We're about a minute away from the starting lineups here in arena. We'll go ahead and step aside once again. When we come back, we'll run over the starting lineups one more time, and we'll have game action for you right here from the Denny Sanford Premier Center. You're listening to Jackrabbit Men's Basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that catch-up.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it. Unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
South Dakota State is 1 win away from returning to the Summit League Championship game. They've got one opponent standing in their way, number 4 seeded St. Thomas Tommies. Earlier on today, the South Dakota State women punched their ticket to the Summit League title game. They will take on North Dakota State, as we just figured out. North Dakota State defeating the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. That game will be at 3:30 tomorrow. We'll be on the air at 3:15 with the pregame. 3:30 is the tip-off for the Summit League Championship game. We'll see if we can add another to our roster here. South Dakota State being introduced right now. St. Thomas waiting in the wings, having already been introduced. Let's run over those starting lineups one more time real quickly. For St. Thomas, number 1, Kendall Blue. Number 4, Brooks Allen. Number 5, Parker Bjorklund. Number 11, Drake Dobbs. And number 24, Raheem Anthony. Again, the Tommies coached by Johnny Tower, the longtime head man at St. Thomas, navigating the Division III to Division I transition. For South Dakota State, going to be number 1, Matt Mims, number 2, Zeke Mayo, number 13, Luke Apple, number 30, Charlie Easley, and number 42, William Kyle III. Both teams back out on the floor now. St. Thomas to our right, going to be wearing their away purple uniforms with silver trim down the side, trimmed in white all around. White St. Thomas script across the front, white numerals on the front and the back. South Dakota State, as always, being the number 1 seed, wearing their white uniforms with yellow and blue trim down the side, blue Jackrabbit script across the front, blue numerals on the front and back, and personal name, last name, across the top of the back of the jerseys, also in blue. Bjorklund getting ready to take the tap, facing up against what I presume will be William Kyle III. Bjorklund, what a great story here. In any other situation, he might not even be playing college basketball, and here he is 1 win away from the Summit League championship, but he has to get through South Dakota State first. As I mentioned, Bjorklund, 6'7", will be facing off against Kyle III, 6'9". The tap is up. It's tipped by Kyle III into Easley's hands, who turns around, gives it to Mayo. We are underway here in the Summit League Championships semifinals. Down on the right baseline is Charlie Easley. They'll work its way up and around over to Luke Apple, working on the left wing. Kick up to Easley at the point. Mayo on the right side now. Back to Easley. More on the left and inside the arc to Apple. Kick out Easley 3, and he hits the rim. That falls down, no good. 19.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Down low, quick pass to Bjorklund, and already Kyle III showing up. Blocks the shot from Bjorklund. It goes out of bounds, and the Jackrabbits will have possession. Apple get it in there to Zeke Mayo. 19:24 on the clock, still scoreless here in the Summit League Tournament semifinals. Mayo standing near the half-court circle with the left-handed dribble. Bounces it inside the arc to Apple. He falls down, still keeps the ball in his possession. Backing down on Brooks Allen. He gets it up to Mayo, who drives down the lane, scoops it right in with the left-handed lay-in. 2-0. South Dakota State cracks the scoreboard first here in this matchup. Number 1 versus number 4, the way that the seedings projected it would be, unlike the other side of the bracket where we have a number 7 and a number 6 going to be facing off just after this game. Over on the left side, Bjorklund will hand it off now to Blue. Back to Bjorklund, who tries for a 3-ball. He hits it, no problem. And just like that, the Tommies have the lead. 3-2 lead for St. Thomas. 18.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Apple at the arc, slows it up, gives it over to Easley, and Mims on the left side. Back to Easley at the point. Mayo now on the right. Gives it inside the arc, down to Apple. He bounces it up to Mayo. That's going to be stolen away by Dobbs. Dobbs coming back the other way. Tried to give it to Anthony, who tried to send it inside. That's picked off by Mayo. Gives it over to Easley. He's cutting inside, back out to Mims on the left for 3. He hits the rim. That side irons out and is brought down by Dobbs. Into the front court now. He'll hand it off to Bjorklund. Bounces it back to Dobbs and over down to Blue. Up top to Bjorklund at the point. Inside the arc now. He'll turn around, give it off to Blue, who will give it over to Allen. Back to Blue for 3. He knocks it down, and the Tommies are hot from range, here early. 6-2. St. Thomas has the lead. 17:36 left to go in the first half. Remember, South Dakota State won both of the regular season meetings between these two teams. Apple on the inside bumped one of the St. Thomas players, and Johnny Tower was not a fan of that. A 3-ball coming on the right side from Easley. That was not able to go. It hit the rim a couple of times. Now back the other way. 6-2, still the lead for St. Thomas. Bjorklund has it. He turns around, gives it to Dobbs. Dobbs will hand it off to Bjorklund. He's working on the right baseline. Knocking down on Kyle III. He'll put it up, and another swat from Kyle III. It falls into the hands of Blue, who will try for 3. That one falls down, no good. And the rebound finally comes down to South Dakota State. Easley gives it to Mims. standing on the left side, now Mayo. Mayo on the left wing, pump fake to shot, and he decides to take it now. That hits the side of the rim and comes out. Still 6-2, no scoring over the past 2.5 minutes from South Dakota State. A 6-0 run for St. Thomas as we stand right now. Anthony backing down on the left baseline on Charlie Easley. Inside the lane, he'll put it up with a little bit of contact. It gets hit out to Bjorklund. He puts up a floater at the free throw line. The board brought down by Easley. He looks to slow it up a little bit. Outlets it to Mims, who gives it back to Easley on the right side. He bounces it inside to Apple, working his way down into the lane. Kick out, Easley free. Easley knocks it down to get the Jackrabbits back within one. 6-5, St. Thomas still leads it. Just under 16 minutes left to go here in the Summit League semifinal matchup. Game number 1 of the evening session of the men's basketball tournament. A handoff inside the arc to Blue. He'll kick it out to Dobbs. Driving through the lane. He loses the basketball. It looked like he might have traveled. I think a foul is going to be called on Matt Mims. And indeed, it will be a foul on Mims. The first for either team in this game. 6-5 as there's a timeout on the floor. We'll take it with them. St. Thomas leads it by 1 here early. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Six to 5, St. Thomas leads it over South Dakota State here in the Summit League semifinal game. The winner moves on to the Summit League Tournament Championship game happening tomorrow evening. So far, Charlie Easley, the leading scorer for the Jackrabbits, with just 3 points. Neither team has scored in about the past 2 minutes and some change, a little bit longer for the Jackrabbits. The Tommies were on a 6-0 run before the Jackrabbits got a 2-point basket. Working is Dobbs. He'll give it to Allen, who pulls up for 3. That hits the rim. The rebound falls down to Easley, who will give it to Mayo. Back to Easley across the timeline, back to Mayo on the right side. Holding the basketball, 15-10 left on the clock. Moores pulls up for 3. That hits the side iron. It'll fall out to Easley, who saves it from going out of bounds. Mayo jumping in the air and bringing it down. He gives it back over to Easley on the left, who bounces it inside on the left low block to Kyle III. Long cross-court pass to Gary. He can't corral it. It looked a little bit high, and he falls down nearly into the VIP seating over here on our side of the court. It goes out of bounds and a turnover on South Dakota State. Still 6-5, now under 15 minutes left to play in the first half. Blue has it for St. Thomas. It finds its way down to Dobbs on the right. Looking to get it up. He gets it up to Ben now, who pulls up for three, and he misses that one. Now in the game, 6'2" junior from Brookfield, Wisconsin. Down low is Matt Moores. He can't get the reverse side lay-in. The ball will go out of bounds. And they'll say it'll stay with South Dakota State. Now coming in for the Tommies, Ryan Dufault, a 6-foot junior guard from Waseca, Minnesota. A lot of Minnesota kids playing on the St. Thomas squad. As Easley gets it up top. Now over to Gary on the right side. He gets it inside the arc to Kyle the third on the right baseline. Kick out Gary, three. He knocks that one down. That gives the Jackrabbits the 8-6 lead here in Sioux Falls. Coming back the other way, Dufault inside the arc. He decides to spin around and dump it off to Allen. Allen standing on the right wing now. 14 minutes left to play in the first half. Kendall Blue standing at the point. He has it, moves it to the right side, inside the arc. Driving on the baseline. It hits the rim a couple of times, and going high for the board is Mayo. Back in transition, he'll get it out to Easley. He pump faked to three, gave it over to Gary. He pulls up for three now. A side-stepping three. He missed it, it hit the rim. Easley will come down, and they'll say it went out of bounds off of St. Thomas. They'll actually say it's a foul. It's going to be on Ben now, the first half for St. Thomas. The only other foul to be called so far in this one is Matt Mims. He's currently sitting on the bench. Probably has nothing to do with that, but just thought I'd shout that out there. Mayo inside the arc. He gives it up top to Easley. He pulls up for a right wing three. That hits the rim, and the rebound falls down to Carter Bjerke, a redshirt freshman from Plymouth, Minnesota. He's playing at a forward. He stands at 6'9". A foul going to be called as Raheem Anthony is trying to dribble past Matthew Moores. The foul on Moores. That's his first and the second team foul. The Jackrabbits currently on a 6-0 run. We saw with their game against Oral Roberts, it was more of a game of runs. They had a monstrous 24-0 run at one point, and the streak continues here. Ryan Dufault can't get that one to go. The rebound falls down to Apple. He turns around and gives it to Mayo. He pump faked it, tried to give a jab step, and thought about taking the three. He sends it off to one of his teammates. The ball finds its way to Moores. Now Apple on the left side baseline, driving through, and a whistle and a foul called on that left side baseline. The furthest point away from us on the court. As Bjerke gets called for the foul on that one. It's going to be his first and the team's second. The foul calls have really amped up since the last time out was taken. Just under 13 minutes left to play in the first half. 8-6 the score. South Dakota State up on top momentarily, but there has been a few flip-flops so far in this young game. Apple inside lane kicks out to Mims for a three. He back irons off. Apple takes a spill around midcourt. Raheem Anthony gets the rebound. Now he bounces it inside the arc to Bjerke. He gives it back to Anthony, working on the wing. He bounces it inside the lane to Dufault, who turns around and lays it in off the left side. That'll tie it up at 8 apiece. 12.5 minutes left to go in the first half. A pass down low to Kalen Gary, and a couple of players end up on the floor, Gary being one of them, Ben now being the other. And they'll give the ball to St. Thomas here. Nate Barnhart coming in for Matthew Moores, the first we're seeing of the 7-footer from Lenexa, Kansas. .5 minutes left to play in this first half. Bjorklund gets it behind him to Anthony. Anthony inside the arc to Bjerke. Barnhart all over that. Nice defense. He didn't get a paw on the ball, but Bjerke missed anyway. Coming back the other way is Apple inside the arc, gets it up top to Gary, right side Mims. Now back down to Barnhart, back to Mims, and finds its way to Apple at the top. He pulls up for three, and he hits. The senior for South Dakota State gives them the lead. 11-8 is the score. He breaks the tie. Raheem Anthony now has it. He gives it over to Bjerke on the left side. A pump fake back to Anthony at the top now, and bringing it all the way down to Dufault, standing on the right wing. He cuts inside, drives lane right. He kicks it out to Now. 8 seconds on the shot clock for him. Gives it up top, Bjerke pulls up for a long three. The big man couldn't hit from the top. It back irons off and falls down to Mayo. Mayo, pump fake, he drove down the lane. Kicks it out to Mims now. He does the same thing. Kicks it out to Apple this time. He's inside the arc, over to Mims. He's driving in the lane. He bounces it to Nate Barnhart, and what a nifty pass that was. He puts it up and in, does the Kansas native. 13-8 the score. Just over 11 minutes left to play in this first half. Anthony gets it to Bjorklund. Now has it. He bounced it over to Anthony inside the lane. He pulled up for a floater. That back irons off, and the board's brought down to Mayo. He outlets it to Mims now, dribbling up the right sideline. He dances with the basketball a little bit. Behind the back, he drives down the lane. He gets it knocked out by Bjorklund. And that's when we take a break. 13-8, 10:42 left to go in the first half. The Jackrabbits have the lead. There's timeout on the floor. We step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Don't.
First half, 10:42 left on the clock. St. Thomas not shooting it well from the field. Have made only one of their last 12 in this one. The Jackrabbits have stormed back, taken the lead by at least 2 possessions. I know that because that's how many possessions it took them to get this lead. Not very good at math otherwise. Inbound from Mayo in the front court for SDSU. Barnhart has it up top, gives it to Easley, back to Mims on the right side. He works down low to the baseline, driving through. Reverse lay-in with the right hand is good from Mims. 15-8, 10.5 minutes left to go here in the first half. Glad you're along with us here on KSDJ. Allen has it. He gives it over to Anthony. Gives it to Bjorklund. Back to Anthony outside the perimeter. Bjorklund on the right for 3. Apple was all the way in his face. Anthony down low tried to grab the rebound. He's looking for a foul there. Easley was in the area. He did get knocked around a little bit, but no whistle. The ball goes out of bounds, and Apple is set to inbound it here to our left. Apple spinning around near the half-court line. He gives it on the right side to Barnhart. Over to Easley on the left. Now Mims. Mims back to Easley. Still on the left. Shot clock is down to 8. Mayo at the top. Moving over to the right wing. He turns around in the air. Sends it out to Barnhart. He tried a 3. That side irons out and is brought down by Dobbs. Coming back the other way is St. Thomas. Trailing 15-8. Now pass going to be brought by Allen. He gives it over to Bjorklund on the right baseline. He kicks it out to Dobbs. Now in the wing, driving on the baseline. Apple almost could have gotten called for goaltending if that was high enough to go in. It hit the bottom side of the rim, so luckily the hand through the net didn't matter as much as it could have. Mims, a long 3 from the left side. That does not go. Still 15-8. A 7-0 run for the Jackrabbits. A 13-2 run overall, and a scoring drought of about 3.5 minutes for St. Thomas. That shooting one of their last 14, kind of playing a role in that. Brooks Allen on the right side, and a whistle and a foul going to be called. Lou Gamble with the infraction. It's Carter Bjerke's coming in. Kyle the third also coming in for South Dakota State. 8:50 on the clock, still 15-8. Blue set to inbound it on the far sideline, gets it into Bjerke. Back to Blue, who sends it over to Allen. Allen standing at the point. He'll pull up for 3. He knocks it down, and that gets him closer. 15-11 the score. Cutting the deficit to 4. Mims inside the arc, gives it over to Apple on the right side. He's inside the lane, kicks it out to Mims up top. He drives on the right side of the lane, kicking out to Easley. He rises for 3, and he misses. It hits the rim and falls down to Blue. Still 15-11, 8:14 left to go in the first half. A right-handed dribble from Blue. A lot of contact between Mims and Anthony. The ball gets sent down to Anthony on the left baseline. He's a physical player. He'll back down on Mims. He tried to spin away from it, kicks it out to Allen. 8 seconds on the shot clock. He's inside the lane, and finally he worked his way down there and put up a shot, and just like that, the Tommies are back within 2. 15-13, 7:45 left to go in the first half. Mims on the right side. He rifles it across to Easley. Down inside the arc to Apple, working on the right side and the right low block. Inside the lane now, he looks to get it out to Easley on the right. He comes back out, does Apple outside the arc, sends it over to Mayo up top. 6 seconds on the shot clock. He keeps trying to drive in, kick up to Apple, pump fakes. He cuts inside, and with 1 second on the shot clock, Mayo drains it from the left wing outside the arc. 18-13 the score, 7:10 left to go in the first half. Now we have Blue. He gives it over to Dobbs. Dobbs, who will hand it off to Bjerke. Back behind him to Dobbs. He drives through the wing, loses the basketball, no whistle until it finally goes out of bounds, but they'll give it to St. Thomas, saying it went off of South Dakota State. 18-13, 6:54 left in the first half, and we step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
You wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back.
18-13 the score here in Sioux Falls, Summit League Championship semifinals. South Dakota State up on top over St. Thomas. Bjerke hands it off behind him to Blue. Back to Bjerke outside the arc. St. Thomas working right in front of us on the left side of the court as we see it. 5 on the shot clock. Blue loses the basketball, picked up by Mims. Outlet pass to Easley. He's standing on the perimeter. He sends it into Apple. He rises. He tries to lay it in. He can't get it. Something that was pointed out by Marshall Monahan, the great sports editor at the Collegian. 15 out of the 19 shot attempts, now 20 shot attempts, have been from long range for SDSU as Dobbs rises for 3. He misses for that one and easily goes up for the board. A lot of three-point shots being taken by South Dakota State. In fact, an overwhelming majority of them being from beyond the arc. Easily tries to get it inside to Kyle III, and he gets fouled in the process. Just something to take note of. They are 4-15 from 3, meaning only 3 of their made shots have come from inside the perimeter. Lots of substitutions coming in here. 6:07 left on the first half clock. 18-13 the score between South Dakota State and St. Thomas. Inbound quickly up to Moores, who hands it off to Easley, gives it inside the arc to Kyle III. Just inside the arc, he hands it off to Easley, lobs it up, Kyle III, put back, and that one's good. 20-13, just under 6 minutes left to play in the first half. Now across the timeline is going to be Dufault. He's on the floor, loses the basketball. Mayo picks it up, sends it to Moores. He lays it in with the right-handed roll. And the Jackrabbits are up 22-13. The crowd here in Sioux Falls gets loud. This place is packed with yellow and blue. Yorkland gives it over to Anthony. He lifts up for 3. That back iron's off. The rebound's going to fall down to Bjorklund. He gets it back outside the arc and hands it off to Anthony again. On the left side, driving on the baseline, puts it up hard off the glass, and it drops down for 2 more. 22-15. 5:06 left to go here in the first half. Looks like a blood timeout. Easily. Looks like he has a bloody nose, has to go tend to that. That also gives an opportunity for St. Thomas to get some instruction from their coaching staff. He walks over, looking to get something to help from Woodrow Dahl, the South Dakota State athletic trainer. St. Thomas is over by their bench. The other Jackrabbits taking it as an opportunity to get some instruction as well from Eric Henderson and staff. 5:04 left to go in the first half, 22-15. Really well-rounded game so far. All players that have played for South Dakota State have scored at least a point. Moreover, they've scored at least 2 points as well. The players not to score for St. Thomas, Ben Now, Drake Dobbs, and Carter Bjerke. Looks like we're ready to resume for action. Easley is the trigger man, set to send it in from the sideline inside to Mayo at the half-court circle. Spinning around, gives it to Moores. He turns around and gives it back to Mayo. Driving inside, he's in the wing. Kick out to Gary. He's driving left baseline. He gets the ball poked out by Now from behind him. And it'll go out of bounds with the shot clock standing at 14. (22-15), just under 5 minutes left to play, and no free throws have been taken by either team so far. Giving in, inside the lane is Mayo. He tried to get it to go, that can't, and a foul going to be called on St. Thomas, and they're going to go ahead and take a look at it. Johnny Tower was incensed on the sideline there. He was coming out of his shoes. So with 4:41 left in the first half, a 22-15 lead for SDSU. They're going to go ahead and head to the monitor to review. It looks like Luke Apple's going to come into the game. So 2 of the 3 officials are over by the monitor. From what I could see, we haven't seen a replay here in the arena yet, and we don't have a television feed from Midco Sports. Looked like there was some contact while South Dakota State was in the transition running back. And if memory serves correctly, I think one of the St. Thomas players ended up on the floor. And I think the original foul call was on St. Thomas. I do believe they're going to go ahead and give the foul to William Cowell III. That's what we have on our stat broadcast here. No official announcement in arena here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Both teams are now back onto the court away from their coaches, and so it looks like that's what's going to happen. They're going to give the foul to William Cowell III. That's going to be his first and the 4th team foul. And it will indeed just be a common foul. So St. Thomas going to get it into Parker Bjorklund. Turns around behind him, gives it to Allen. Allen will then give it to Dufault. Standing at the point, back to Allen. Behind him, now Bjorklund on the right side, cutting. Almost thought about cutting inside the arc. Gives it to Anthony. Standing on the right baseline. He's backing down on Gary. Keeps on backing down. Cross-court pass. A kick out to Bjorklund. He hits the glass and it falls onto the rim. Now will take a shot from long range, and he misses that one. And South Dakota State now coming back the other way. 4:05 left to go in the first half. Apple inside the wing, spinning around, kicks it out to Gary. He rises for 3, and he hits it from 3. 25-15, a 10-point lead for SDSU. Coming back the other way, Dufault going coast to coast, and Kyle III gets in the way of that one. Still 25-15, 3:40 left to go on the first half clock. Easley standing on the right side, inside the arc to Apple. He loses the basketball, picked up by Anthony. Mayo back on defense, as is Gary. Anthony will slow things up at the right baseline, and Allen thought about taking the 3 on the left side. He decided not to. Gives it back to Anthony up top. Behind the back, he moves it to the different hand. Kicks it out to Bjorklund, who falls down hard on his shoulder. That's a 3-pointer that a foul is going to be called on. And so, inevitably, There's going to be 3 shots given, and it'll be the first free throws of the game. Another timeout on the floor, 25-18, 3:19 left to go in the first half. And we step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
Just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
(25-18) the score, 3:19 left to go in the first half. Correction on that one, I didn't realize that Bjorklund's shot actually went in. So that's going to be 3 points plus the opportunity to put a fourth one on here with the free throw. The first free throw of the game so far between two teams, with this being the 8th foul. And he knocks that one down. Bjorklund with 7 now. 2 3-pointers to his name in this game so far. 25-19. Apple has it beyond the 3-point line. Now Gary gets it inside the arc to Apple. He's backing down on the right baseline. A hook shot over the defender in the middle of the lane is good. 27-19 is the score. Between the legs, dribble from Blue, bounces it inside the arc. Now down to Bjorklund. Barnhart tried to get a piece of the ball. He got a piece of Bjorklund's arm instead. That's going to be the 6th foul on South Dakota State. And Bjorklund's going to be right back at the line. He's going to shoot 2. This is going to be Nate Barnhart's first foul, by the way. Lets the first one fly, and that rattles its way home. 27-20 now. The second coming from the Twin Cities native. Here it is, and he knocks that one down to 3 for 3. He has all 3 of the game's free throws so far tonight, and he's hit them all. 27-21, 2:40 left to go in the first half. This matchup between St. Thomas and South Dakota State. Apple driving lane left. He put it too hard off the glass. Barnhart couldn't come up with the rebound. And another foul going to be called on what I presume to be Barnhart. No signal given yet, and it is going to be on Barnhart. That's his 2nd and the team's 7th. So just over 2.5 minutes left to go in the first half. 27-21. And Brooks Allen in there to take the bonus shot for St. Thomas. He makes the first one, so he'll get the second one awarded. as Easley with gauze up his nose will come in for Kalen Gary. And the second one from Allen is good. So in total, five free throws in the game, all of them by St. Thomas now in the last minute or so. Mims gives it over to Easley, standing on the right wing. Now he bounces it to Barnhart. Coming around, he's on the right wing now. He'll look to give it up to Mims. Now Easley on the left, inside the arc to Mayo. Shot clock at 7. Backing his way down on the St. Thomas defense. Puts it off the glass and it almost falls down. It hits the rim, but a foul going to be called on Drake Dobbs, the Eden Prairie native. It's going to be his first, and South Dakota State is going to take their first free throws of the game. 2:04 on the clock, 27-23 as Zeke Mayo, the junior for SDSU, will step up to the line. It bounces on the front, bounces on the back, then scales the edge and eventually falls out. So the first free throw, no good. The second one from Mayo, he knocks that one down. 28-23, Mayo now has 6. The second Jackrabbit to hit that, and he's tied for the team lead. Parker Bjorklund, the game high with 9. Blue gives it to the aforementioned Bjorklund, who hands off behind him to Dobbs. Back to Bjorklund, now on the left side. He loses the basketball, falling down. Mayo coming back the other way. He tries to push the pace, and he gets swatted. A lot of the Jackrabbit fans want a foul on him. Mayo coming back. And it's getting a little bit ugly here. A 3-ball coming from Allen, and a foul now going to be called on, I believe, Allen. Apple was in pursuit of the basketball, and Allen kind of reached out, touched his arm, what the officials deemed to be preventing him from grabbing that free throw. A minute and a half left to go in the first half, 28-23, and Apple is going to send it in from right in front of us. Gets it into Mayo in the backcourt, rips the ball away from Dobbs. Sends it into Gary across the timeline. He loses the basketball. Easley will now get it to Mims, who bounces it inside the arc to Mayo. 1:15 on the clock. He stepped back, 2-pointer is going to fall down to Anthony. It hit the rim and falls down to Raheem Anthony. Now, as we tick down closer to 1 minute remaining here in the first half, a slow dribble up from Anthony as we hit the 1 minute mark. 28-23, South Dakota State lead. Anthony dribbling between his two hands, waiting for the shot clock to hit 10. It does. He drives down the lane, puts it off glass and down the hoop for 2. Easley will inbound it into Apple. We now have 28-25. 3-point game. SDSU has it, gives it to Gary. Easley now back to Mims on the right. Back up top to Easley. Gary on the left side. Bouncing between the legs. Shot clock's at 10 with Easley holding it a couple feet behind the arc. He drives into the wing, loses the basketball. And a turnover going to be on SDSU, giving the ball back to St. Thomas with 18 and 7/10 of a second left. Either he traveled or he just lost it off of his foot. Well, he did lose it off of his foot. I don't know if he traveled before that, but I think they'll just call it an out-of-bounds call. As I mentioned, about 18 seconds left in the half for St. Thomas, and they're down 3, 28-25 to South Dakota State. A slow dribble from Anthony, 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. He's at the point, inside the arc now. Tries to step back, loses the basketball. He's on the ground. Mayo sends it up, a half-court shot. It hit the rim. The shot wouldn't have counted anyway. And that's how the teams will enter the halftime locker room. 28-25 the score as we head to halftime, and we'll take a break here on KSDJ. When we come back, we'll have the first half numbers for you, a look at South Dakota State athletics in the coming days, and a fresh look at the bracket, the game results from today, and what to look for tomorrow. Once again, 28-25 at the half. We step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
28-25 at halftime. South Dakota State up over St. Thomas by 3 points. 3 points is all. Time to take a look at the first half numbers. Thank you to the Summit League Communications Office for getting these to us in a timely manner, all tournament long. They've just been great. South Dakota State leading, let's start with St. Thomas. St. Thomas's leading scorer, also a game high, 9 points for Parker Bjorklund, 2 of 7 from the field, 2 of 4 from long range, to be exact. So it's only 2 field goals made from beyond the 3-point line. 3 of 3 at the charity stripe. A total of 5 for 5 are St. Thomas. 1 rebound, 1 turnover for Bjorklund. Other point scorers, 6 points for Raheem Anthony, 5 points for Brooks Allen, and 3 points for Kendall Blue. As a team, 8 of 28 from the field are St. Thomas, 28.6%. If you want to put a percentage to that. 4 of 14 from downtown, 5 of 5, as I mentioned, at the free throw line. 17 total rebounds, 4 assists, 5 turnovers, and 3 steals for the Tommies. Looking at South Dakota State, a tie in first place for scoring at only 6 points. Zeke Mayo and Kalen Gary. Mayo, 2 of 6 so far, 1 of 2 from long range, 1 of 2 from the free throw line as well. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 1 block assist. Kalen Gary, on the other hand, 2 of 3 for him, 2 of 3 from three-point land. He's only taken 3-point shots. 1 rebound for Gary. Now, the reason that those point totals are so low is because they've really done a nice job of spreading the wealth in this game so far. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be determined. But every single player who's played has scored at least 2 points. You have Luke Apple with 5. You have Charlie Easley with 3. And then you have William Kyle III, Matt Mims, Matt Moores, and Nate Barnhart all with 2. The Jackrabbits shooting 11 of 28 from the field for nice 39.3%, 5 of 16 from three-point land, and only 2 free throws in the first half. We got down to about the 4-minute mark. No free throws had been taken from either team at that point. Then St. Thomas got about 5 in the span of 1 minute, and South Dakota State got a couple after that, but they're 50%, 1 of 2 in the first half on charity shots. "17 rebounds for the Jackrabbits, 6 assists, 5 turnovers, and 2 steals for South Dakota State. There were 2 lead changes, 1 tie in the first half. 14:09, the time with the lead was South Dakota State. 12 points in the paint. SDSU has the advantage over St. Thomas's 8, and 10 points off the bench for South Dakota State compared to St. Thomas's 2. At halftime, it's 28-25. We'll step aside once again. When we come back, we'll recap the days so far, preview the next matchup, and then the 2 matchups following that tomorrow, the Summit League Championships. Final day, championship day. It's the day where we put 2 automatic qualifiers into the NCAA tournament. South Dakota State women's squad has already got their ticket into the championship game. We'll see about the men's squad. We have another half to play before we figure that out. We'll step aside. Once again, you're listening to Jackrabbit Men's Basketball on KSDJ.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that catch-up.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it. Unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the whoops. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote?
South Dakota State up over St. Thomas in the Summit League semifinal game. The winner moving on to tomorrow's championship game with the chance to become the automatic qualifier to the NCAA tournament, the big dance as we like to call it. Recapping today, we started off the day South Dakota State taking on in-state rival USD. In women's basketball, 76-63 win for the Jacks on that one. The Jackrabbits advancing to the Summit League women's basketball title game tomorrow. That'll be at 3:30. We'll hit the air at 3:15 with coverage of that one right here from the Denny Sanford Premier Center. The leading scorer for the Jackrabbits, 21 points for Brooklyn Meyer on 8 of 11 shooting. 20 for Paige Meyer, 5 of 12 shooting, and 10 points for Maddie Mathewitz on 4 of 10 shooting. Then after that, North Dakota State punched their ticket into the title game as well, a 75-66 score over Oral Roberts in that one. So as I mentioned, 3:30 going to be the time for that. North Dakota State, 18 points from Heaven Hamling and Abby Draper, 10 points for Avery Conan as well, the double-digit scorers for North Dakota State. This is the first men's game for today. Later on at around 8:30, Denver and Omaha taking on each other. Number 7, Denver. Number 6, Omaha, squeaking into the semifinals. Denver taking down the 2nd seed, Kansas City, and Omaha taking down the 3rd seed, North Dakota. That game, again, happening at 8:30. Right after this one, the winner of that one, 2, will advance to the the Summit League championship game. The championship game tomorrow will be 8:30. If South Dakota State does win this game and advances to that, we'll be on the air at 8:15 with coverage of that. Tip-off at 8:30, but we for sure will have coverage of the Summit League Women's Basketball Championship game at 3:15 and 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. Let's get back to this one, 28-25. South Dakota State up over St. Thomas. Leading scorers for SDSU, again, 6 points for Zeke Mayo and Kaylin Gary. On the other side, Parker Bjorklund with a game-high 9 points so far. No player has eclipsed the 10-point threshold in this game so far. We're coming out with the lineups for the second half. We got Kyle III, Apple, Mayo, Mims, and Easley. For St. Thomas, we have Allen, Blue, Bjorklund, Dobbs, and Anthony. That's how we're going to be starting it off. And South Dakota State's Matt Mims going to inbound it at half court, wearing the home white uniforms with blue and yellow trim. Of course, he inbounds it into Mayo in the backcourt. Working from right to left as we see it here in the second half. Kyle III standing at the point. He lifts the ball high above his head and hands it off to his teammate Easley. He's standing there. Now he gives it over to Mims on the left side. Easley with gauze up his nose, a bloody nose earlier on in the first half, Still 28-25. Apple working his way down, spins inside the lane with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Not able to get anything to go. Anthony gives it over to Dobbs on the left. Anthony bounces it to Bjorklund. St. Thomas wearing their away purple uniforms with silver trim and white trim down the sides and white numerals and script across the front saying St. Thomas. Blue at the top. He gets into the left wing. He drives down and he gets a couple of nice bounces and lays it in. 28-27, and very quickly into the second half. St. Thomas back within 1. Back the other way now. Easily kick out Mims, left baseline for 3. He knocks it down, and that'll get the crowd into it a little bit after the halftime break. Coming up the floor now, it's going to be Allen. Right-handed dribble, he'll give it to Dobbs on the right wing. Gives it up at the point to Anthony, standing at the top of the lane. He'll move over to the left wing. Now he'll come back to the top, send it over on the left. Bjorklund for 3. He hits the rim, and going high for the board is Luke Apple. He outlets it to Easley, who dribbled it up the right side. He bounces it inside the arc to Apple. Cross-court pass to Mayo. Down low to Kyle III on the left baseline. He loses the basketball, but it's going to be out on St. Thomas, and a foul going to be called on Brooks Allen, his second, the first foul for either team here in the second half. Mayo lobs it into Kyle III, working on the left low block on Bjorklund. Anthony comes over and helps. Now Apple. They give it back up to Mims, driving through the wing. He's in the right side of the lane. Spin around fadeaway is good. He knocks it down. Gives the Jackrabbits a 33-27 lead. Just under 18 minutes left to go here in the second half. Again, the winner moves on to the Summit League title game tomorrow. And they play for the right to go to the NCAA tournament. Now kick out on the left to Allen. Allen will lose the basketball. He gives it over to Dobbs, and a foul going to be called. A blocking foul on Allen. And all of a sudden, it's his third foul. No, excuse me, just a turnover. That's what I thought it was originally. No, it was a foul, so 2 fouls on St. Thomas, and I think that's the 3rd for Allen. Apple will hand it off behind him to Mims. Inside the arc now. He'll spin around on his pivot foot and give it to Mayo. Now back to Mims, back to Mayo, standing at the top of the lane. Now working with the right-handed dribble, bounces it inside the arc to Kyle the third, working on the baseline, puts it off glass and down for 2. Coming back now, Bjorklund, 35-27, 17:05 left to go in the second half. Dobbs gives it right down to Blue, driving right side baseline, puts it up, bounces off the back iron, and goes through the nylon for 2 more points. 35-29 now, under 17 left to play in the game. Coming around, Mayo will give it inside the arc to Apple, bounces it to Kyle the third. He rises and slams it home with the two-handed dunk right in the middle of the lane. 37-29, 16 and a half minutes left to go in the second half. Dobbs now. We'll give it over to Bjerke. Now Anthony. Gives it back to Blue. He's running the point now. Spinning around. Hands it off to Anthony behind him. 4 on the shot clock, coming around inside the lane. He stops in the lane. The ball goes straight up in the air, and a foul's going to be called on Charlie Easley as Anthony was driving inside. So Anthony's going to go to the line and shoot 2 free throws. First foul for the second half for South Dakota State, and it's the first foul on Easley in the game. First one knocked down, 37-30. A 7-point game now, 16-11 left to go in the second half. Anthony at the free throw line, lets the second one fly. It back irons out, and it's brought down by Kyle the third, who may have caught an elbow or a fist to the face inadvertently. And instantly a foul by Raheem Anthony. That'll give the ball back to South Dakota State. Apple at the point. He'll hand it off to Mims. On the right side, he bounces it down the lane to Apple, who loses the basketball. Coming back, Bjorklund outlets it now to Dobbs. Back to Bjorklund inside the lane. He loses it, and it's picked up by Easley. Easley coming back the other way into the front court to Apple. Standing on the right wing with the left-handed dribble, gives it back up to Easley. He decides to bounce it back to Apple, pump fake the shot, and drove down the lane, kicks it out to Mayo now. Resetting, a fake screen set by Apple. And a step-back 3 from Mayo hits the front of the iron and eventually going to be brought down by Anthony. 15 and a half minutes left to go in this game, 37-30. Blue bounces it on the far sideline. Right-handed dribble from Blue. He'll send it over to Bjerke, who's wide open for 3. He misses it. It hits the rim and falls down to Easley. Now back to Mayo, who's quickly into the front court. He gets it over to Easley and Mims standing on the right wing. And now a foul called on the inside away from the basketball. And there's going to be a timeout on the floor. 37-30, 15:01 left to go in the second half, and we step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit Men's Basketball on KSDJ.
Control. You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner.
Did you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
(37-30), 15:01 left to go in the game. At least the second half. Can't speak for overtime if that possibly comes into play. An inbound into Kyle the third, working on the right. Low block on the baseline. Under 15 left to play now. Easily bounces it to Mayo. He drives the baseline, puts it up over the basket, and the ball's going to be brought down by St. Thomas. Anthony driving up the far sideline. And a foul going to be called on Gary. It's going to be his first foul, the second team foul of the second half. Blue gets it in to Allen. Allen bouncing, and he rises for three. Hits the rim, and it falls down to Easley. Coming back the other way is South Dakota State. Here in this one, 14.5 minutes remain in the game. On the right elbow now, spinning around. He stops at the free throw line, pivots, and bounces it to Kyle the third. Standing on the right of the lane, inside the wing. Up top, Easley rises for three. He misses. It hits the rim and falls down. St. Thomas has it now. 7-point lead for South Dakota State. A scoring drought of 2.5 minutes for South Dakota State now. 14 minutes left. Allen gets it to Dobbs on the left wing. Dribbles, spins around, and gives it to Bjerke. Back to Dobbs, who bounces it inside the left elbow to Anthony. He spins around on the baseline, and a foul called on Anthony. He's confused. Eric Henderson telling him, it's okay, it's okay. Calm down. The crowd, however, is not calm as well. The Bluebirds have again made their way to Sioux Falls as Easley and Kyle the third come out of the game. So that's going to be Kalen Gary's second. The team's third of the second half, with Blue set to inbound it underneath the basket to our right. Looking to get it, he's taking a long time, and a 5-second violation called. The defense was all over the possibilities for Blue to get it in. So a turnover that's going to give it back to South Dakota State. Luke Apple here. Apple gets it into Mims, who will give it back behind him to Apple, who slowly dribbles it up in the center of the court. 13:46 left to go in the second half. Driving down the lane, he loses the basketball. Bjerke's going to get it, and Bjerke gets hit in the face. Apple was reaching for the basketball, so definitely inadvertent, at least in my opinion. And there's no question about that, but still a foul nonetheless. That's going to be his second and the team's fourth. Everybody's going to remain for both teams here as Blues set to inbound it. They have the length of the court to go. Allen gives it up now. He gives it over to Bjorklund. Now Blue. Move down to the right wing. Now back to the point. Dobbs on the left side. 13.5 remaining. Driving inside the lane, and a backdoor cut and a dunk home from the right side from Kendall Blue. Zeke Mayo now bounces it to Apple. 37-32 the score. Apple gives it to Moores. He thought about a three. He's stepped out of the arc, and now we'll give it to Apple. Up top, Mims. He launches for three, and that's going to fall down. No good. Allen now on the right side gives it up to Dobbs at the top. Back over to Allen on the right wing. Bjerke back to Dobbs at the point. 12:40 left to go in the second half. Dobbs driving in the right lane. He misses the basket but gets fouled on the way to it. And that foul going to be on Matthew Moores. His second. The team's fifth. And the Yankton native, a transfer from Wisconsin, will put Drake Dobbs to the line. The first one from Dobbs is good, makes it 37-33. Will Kyle, the third, comes in for the Jackrabbits here. Second one is let loose, and he misses that. Apple goes up for the board and gives it over to Mayo. 12.5 minutes remaining in this second half, and Mayo tried to drive down low. Blue gets a foul called on him. It's going to be his first and the team's fifth of the second half. So 4-point game as we sit right now, 37-33, South Dakota State up over St. Thomas as we sit. Apple on the right elbow. He'll give it up. Kalen Gary, a three ball, hits the front iron and brought down by Allen. He's into the front court now, sends it over to Anthony on the far sideline. Bjerke sets a screen, and Anthony coming around the other side of it. Kick up to Bjerke. The step back three, and it hit the back iron. The ball's going to be ping-ponged around and finally brought down by Allen. Once again, in the St. Thomas has a fresh shot clock. Under 12 now to play. Anthony on the left baseline. Inside the arc, working his way down. Now we'll kick it up to Allen. He pulls up for a long three, and he hits it in stride. 37-36, and the Tommies are back within one of the Jackrabbits. 11:36 left to play in the second half. Gary rifles it over to Mims. He stands at the point, looking for somewhere to get it, reverses it back to Gary on the near side. Now over on the far side, on the right, low baseline is Zeke Mayo. He thought about driving. He stepped back three. That rattles out. Now comes down with the rebound. And Anthony has it now. 11-11 to make a wish, 37-36. SDSU leads it by just 1 point as we get closer and closer to the halfway point of the second half. Allen hands it off to Bjerke, driving down the lane, spinning around, is kicked out to Allen for a three. That hits the rim and falls down to Mayo. And he dribbles up the right sideline. A lot of these fans want a traveling call. They're saying that St. Thomas is getting away with a lot of them. Kyle the third stuck down low, gets it up to Mayo. He's inside the wing, turns around and gives it to Apple. Backing down low inside the lane. He puts up a floater, and he gets it to go. (39-6) as the crowd rises to its feet, and it gets loud here in the Denny. 10:15 left to go in the second half. Substitutions waiting on the wings. 10:10 on the clock, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Allen gives it behind him to Now. He'll drive the right baseline. Dobbs driving on the left baseline now, and he'll put it up. That's not Dobbs, that's to Fault. He'll put it down, and a foul gets called too? Regardless, there's a timeout on the floor, 39-36, 1 second above 10 minutes remaining. And we'll go ahead and step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit Men's Basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to. Or
10 minutes remain in this Summit League semifinal game. The winner moves on to the championship. The loser season is done. 39-36. The score, South Dakota State up on top over the fourth-seeded St. Thomas Tommies. Glad to have you all on board. Brayden Byers here with you. Marshall Minahan to my left. Yeah. Parker Bjorklund gets the inbound. He's on the left wing. He gets it into blue now. Spinning around now. Bjorklund drives on the left baseline. Just a three-point separating these two teams. South Dakota State finally gets a traveling call. (39-36), less than 10 minutes remaining now. Easily has it to Apple. Apple backing down, inside the wing, spinning on the right side of the lane. He gives it out to Easley, back out to Apple. He pump faked to three. He thought about it. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Gives it to Mims. He's standing outside the arc. 5, 4. Apple long three. He hits it from all the way downtown. 42-36. 9:15 left to go in the second half. That gets the crowd into a frenzy again. Dufault driving down the lane, spinning inside the lane. Kick out to Anthony on the left wing. Easily falls down. Anthony rises for three. He doesn't hit it. It hits the rim, and the board brought down by Matt Mims. Now Mayo into the front court. Standing at the point. Stepping back. Giving over to Apple on the near sideline. He lobs it inside to Kyle the 30. Jams home on the right block to extend the lead 44-36. The crowd's getting loud now here in the Premier Center. 8.5 minutes left to go in this one. Spinning is Brooks Allen. He hands it off to Dufault. The left wing, he drives down low. Kyle the third taps it out. Thought it might have been going all the way down. Kyle the third finds a way to get it out. Gets brought down by St. Thomas again. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Dufault pulls up for three. And an offensive rebound from Raheem Anthony. 2-0 boards in a row. Of course, an asterisk on one of them. Kyle the third swatted it out. Dufault driving through the lane and doing it himself on that one. Makes the score 44-38. Standing now, Charlie Easley. He's in the backcourt. He crosses the timeline now with the left-handed dribble. He's standing on the left wing. Apple gets it now into Mayo on the left elbow. He puts up a shot but gets fouled in the process. It hit the top of the backboard, but a foul's still going to be called. And that's going to be on Ryan Dufault, his first, the team's sixth of the second half. And there's another timeout. 44-38, the Jackrabbits lead it. 7.5 minutes left to go in this one. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ.
Or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
If I could be you.
And you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
44-38, 7.5 minutes remain in the Summit League semifinal game between top-seeded South Dakota State and fourth-seeded St. Thomas. Luke Apple finally breaking the threshold, the first 10-point scorer in the game. He's the first to hit double digits here. Right behind him is Kendall Blue. Parker Bjorklund has been stuck at 9. All half has not scored. Zeke Mayo standing at the line here. And he knocks down that one. The foul on Ryan Dufault, and Zeke Mayo scores his first point this half. 45-38, 7:34 on the clock. The second. It's good. Mayo now moves to 8 points. And 7:30 left on the clock exactly. 46-38. Allen hands it off behind him to Blue. He's standing on the right side now. He gives it over to Bjerke. Now down to Dobbs. He's on the right wing. Looking for a way to penetrate now. Turns around, gives it up to Allen. He pump fakes back to Dobbs at the point. He loses the basketball, spinning around. Mayo puts his arms up. A shot clock violation coming on St. Thomas. They couldn't get a shot up in time. It almost went out of bounds, so either way, it would have been South Dakota State ball. 7:02 remains, 46-38 here in the second half. Now Apple up the far sideline. Allen on him. He finally gets across the timeline. Turns around, trying to hand it off to Mims. He gets it to Easley, standing at the midcourt circle. He moves from the point, now spinning around at the free throw line. Bounces it inside the elbow to Kyle III, working on the right baseline. He comes around the middle and sends it right into the arms of Dobbs. Coming back the other way, he's got Mayo to beat. He sends it over to Blue, who lays it in off the right hand for two. 46-40, a 6-point game now as we tick past 6.5 left to go. Easley dribbles with the right hand up to the point. Apple sets a screen. Now coming, driving through the lane is Easley. Takes a second run at it, and he knocks it down. A right-handed lay-in for two more stretches the lead to 8 for the Jackrabbits. Now Brooks Allen has it. Turns around, hands it off to Blue. Blue to Bjerke, all the way down to Allen on the right baseline. Now in the elbow, he sends it up to Blue. He comes around the baseline, up top. Allen for three. He rattles it home. And that gets him back within 5 now. 48-43 as we tick closer to 5.5 minutes left to go here in the second half. This game between number 1 and number 4 in the Summit League. Apple on the left elbow, out to Mayo. He pulls up for three on the left side, points to his teammate Apple, who gave him the assist. And the Jackrabbits are up 51-43. That gets the crowd a little bit more excited here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Allen on the right side gives it up to Dobbs. Standing at the point now, a right-handed dribble. He comes around, hands it off to Anthony. Anthony looking to get it. He gets it off to Blue. Now back to Bjerke. He's standing at the point. 8 seconds on the shot clock, standing at the free throw line. The ball finds its way out to Allen. On the left side, driving through inside the lane, spinning around. Kyle III doesn't get a hand on it, but he prevents the Tommies from making the bucket. Now 4:45 left to go in the second half. Easily standing at the point with the left-handed dribble. He bounces it now on the left wing to Mayo. He works his way down to the baseline. He trips and falls, but a whistle going to be blown and a foul called. Dobbs gets the foul called on him as Bjorklund comes in for Bjerke. So Mayo's going to take a couple more free throws here. 4:35 left on the clock. 51-43 here in this semifinal game. 11 points for Mayo as we sit. And he misses the front end of the 1-and-1, and Anthony's coming back the other way. Now under 4.5. Dobbs is dribbling near the half-court circle. He gets it off to Allen on the left side. Over to Blue on the right wing. He drives inside the baseline, puts it up and in for two more. 51-41. Mayo into the front court to Easley. Standing on the far sideline, he dribbles it closer to the middle of the court. A screen set by Apple. Easley doesn't take it. He's still standing on the right side. He bounces it inside the arc to Apple on the elbow. Now he gets it back out to Easley, standing on the wing. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Easley now inside. He steps back, and he pulls up for a three. He knocks it down to give the Jackrabbits a 54-45 lead. Anthony dribbles across the timeline, hands it off to Dobbs. Dobbs over to Allen, back to Dobbs on the left wing. Standing now, he moves his way up to the point, pulls up for three, and he knocks that one down, and the Tommy faithful celebrates that one. 54-48, the Tommies aren't going down without a fight here in this one. Apple brings it across half-court line. He hands it off to Mims now, who stands near the half-court circle. 3 minutes left to play in the second half. Bounces it to Kyle III on the right elbow now. He's working down on the baseline in the low block. He kicks it back out to Easley. Easley rises for a mid-range jumper. It hits the side iron, then skips right over the other side. 54-48 still. 2:40 left to go in the second half. Anthony on the right baseline. He dribbles it up to the elbow. Now backing down on Mims. He puts it up, and a foul going to be called on St. Thomas. Raheem Anthony, to be exact. 54-48, 2 minutes and 34 seconds remain in this semifinal game as there's a timeout on the floor. We'll take it with them. You're listening to Jackrabbit men's basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss. by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that catch-up.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it. Unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
.48, 2 minutes and 34 seconds remain in the second half of this game between South Dakota State and St. Thomas in the Summit League Tournament semifinals. Glad to have you along here with us. Zeke Mayo sitting at 11 points, Luke Apple with 10. Luke Apple also 10 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Something to watch out for. He's up there in all of the categories past the 5 threshold. 2.5 remaining here, 54-48. Apple has it near the half-court line. He hands it off to Easley. Easley now will get it to Kyle the third. Standing, he'll hand it off to Mims, who will go back up to the point. Easley on the right side now will bounce it inside the arc to Apple. He puts it up and hits the front iron. A rebound from Mayo. He'll get it back out to Mims, who will hand it back off to Mayo near the half-court line. A fresh shot clock here. They can waste some more seconds. That's ideally what you want if you're the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Apple driving down the lane. He tried to put it up, not able to get it to go. Now coming back the other way. Raheem Anthony. He's bouncing it with his right hand. He gives it up top to Allen. Back over on the right side to Anthony. Now Blue has it, signaling for Allen to come closer and set a screen. Allen stepping back. 1:36 left on the clock. Anthony on the right baseline. He moves into the elbow. Right side elbow. He one-hands it over to Blue. A left side 3. Rims out, and the board's brought down by Kyle the third. He leaves it for Mayo. 1:20 left on the clock. 54-48. $1:15 left until the championship game. Mims dribbling with the basketball, and a timeout's going to be called on South Dakota State. We'll take it with them, 54-48, $1:12 left to go until the Summit League championship game. We'll be back right here on KSDJ 90.7.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
54-48, a minute and 12 seconds remaining until the semifinal game is over. South Dakota State versus St. Thomas. One of these teams is advancing to the Summit League title game being played tomorrow at 8:30 right here in Sioux Falls. Is it South Dakota State or is it St. Thomas? Right now the score dictates that it would be South Dakota State, but 6 points separating these two teams. Down the stretch right now we have 26 combined fouls. That's tied for 5th this season in any game containing a Summit League team that's participating. Plenty of fouls have been scored here in this game. Mayo gets the inbound. 1:10 on the clock now. This is where they're going to start to get aggressive. Apple standing on the wing, gives it up to Mims. Near the half-court circle, gives it over to Mayo. 4-3 on the shot clock. Spinning around, puts up a shot, and that misses the basket completely. A shot clock violation, and the Jackrabbits will turn it over. The crowd rises to their feet to oblige Luke Apple, who's asking the crowd to do so. As now both teams will head to their respective coaches as the officials go over to the monitor to check on something. Neither team has scored in at least 2.5 minutes. The Jackrabbits haven't scored in almost 3. The crowd gets loud here in Sioux Falls. 57.3 seconds remains. 54-48, South Dakota State leads it over St. Thomas. Inbound coming, gets it into Anthony. Less than a minute to go here in the Summit League semifinal game. Anthony standing at the point. He gets inside the arc, kicks it out. Dobbs on the right for 3. It almost hits. He gets fouled in the process. If that would have went down, that would have been a possibility of a 4-point play. Heads up play from Dobbs to try and draw that foul. So Mims is going to get called for his second foul. He is going to get 3 free throws, though, because the shot did not go. He's going to get a chance to make all 3 of those points up. So Dobbs is standing at the line with 45.7 seconds remaining. The first one. That rims out. As some people would like to say, ball don't lie. If I had Marshall on a microphone right now, I bet he'd say something like that. 54-48 the score. The second from Dobbs. It also misses. Dobbs takes a couple of practice air free throws as Ryan Dufault will be coming in for Brooks Allen. As Drake Dobbs still standing at the free throw line. As 2 of the officials head over to the scorer's table to discuss something with the replay official over on the side. Both teams huddle around their coaching staffs. The officials encourage them to break it up and go ahead and head back to the free throw stripe. 46.5 seconds left, 54-48. As Luke Apple once again encourages the crowd. 0 for 2 on this trip is Dobbs. Here's the third. And he makes that one. 54-49. Easley gets fouled while trying to make his way up into the front court. And so now we start the fouling game.
Substitution number 4, Will Allen. On the line, number 30, Tyler Easley.
The first one by Easley is good. That foul now puts them alone at second for the most fouls in the Summit League this season combined between two teams. Easley's second is good. 56-49 now. And St. Thomas is going to try and score as fast as they can. Blue driving down. He misses the reverse lay-in, and Easley's going to have the rebound and gets fouled intentionally with a primal scream coming back the other way. 35.7 seconds, 56-49 the score. And again, Charlie Easley will go to the line for the Jackrabbits, only their 8th free throw attempt. Comparing that to St. Thomas's 12. The first one hits the front iron and bounces in. 57-49. Again, 35.7 seconds on the clock. The second is good. 2 for 2 on that trip, 58-49. Now Dobbs rises for three at the point. He doesn't get it. The rebound falls down to Kyle the third. Mayo is stuck back there. He lobs it into the front court to Easley. He slows it up and gets grabbed by Anthony. Intentionally fouled there. 58-49 as Apple and Mayo embrace. Mims and Kyle the third embrace. Mayo and Easley share a high five or two as Charlie Easley will head back to the line. Shooting the double bonus. Makes the first one. He has one more after this. 21.9. He misses the second. That front iron's off. 59-49, a 10-point lead for St. Thomas. Raheem Anthony hits pulls up for a three. The back iron's off. It's tries to be brought down by Charlie Easley. Allen will pull up for a three. Dobbs gets the rebound again. 5 seconds left on the clock. Blue sends it. No good. Kyle the third brings it down. And the South Dakota State Jackrabbits are headed back to the Summit League championship game. Nate Barnhart, Luke Apple embrace here as they head to the handshake line. The final score, a 10-point difference, 59-49. South Dakota State wins it over St. Thomas, and they will return to the Summit League Conference Championship game, which will be played tomorrow night at 8:30 right here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. In a game that ties the season record for most fouls called combined, South Dakota State comes out on top. We'll go ahead and step aside here when we come back. Final numbers for you, a preview of tomorrow's matchups. South Dakota State versus North Dakota State in the women's final. South Dakota State versus either Denver or Omaha coming up in the men's final. We'll have all that and more in the postgame show here on KSDJ 90.7.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Final score here in this one, 59-49. South Dakota State defeats St. Thomas, and they return back to the Summit League Championship game. A high fouling game, one that came down to the last couple of minutes. South Dakota State remains victorious, and they advance on to tomorrow's title game, which will take place at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow night here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Time to take a look at the final numbers, starting off with St. Thomas. Leading scorer Kendall Blue with 13 points in total, 6 of 12 shooting, 1 of 5 from long range, 6 rebounds for him, 2 assists and 1 turnover. Behind him, Brooks Allen, 11 points for him, 3 of 8, 3 of 7, and 2 of 2 on free throws. 4 total rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 turnover for him. As a team, other point scorers, Parker Bjorklund had 9. He did not have a point in the second half. 5 points from Drake Dobbs. Raheem Anthony finished with 7, and Ryan Dufault had 4. As a team, they shot 32.7%, 17 of 52, 7 of 29 from downtown for 24.1%, and 8 of 12 at the free throw line, 66.7%. The total for that. As a team, 33 rebounds, 9 assists, 11 turnovers, and 6 steals. They also had 16 fouls, contributing to the 30 combined that were called tonight. On the Jackrabbits side, Charlie Easley finishing with the game high 13 points, tying with Kendall Blue. He shot 3 of 9 from the field, 2 of 7 on three-pointers, but where he really showed up late was the 5 of 6 from the free throw stripe. 8 rebounds for him, 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 2 steals, as well. A gritty performance from Mr. Charlie Easley. 11 points for Zeke Mayo. He's coming in second for South Dakota State, 3 of 10, 2 of 5 from downtown, and 3 of 5 on free throws. 5 total rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. for Mayo. And Luke Apple finishing with 10, 4 of 9 shooting, 2 of 2, but he made his appearance known, if you want to say that, in other ways. 6 total rebounds, 6 assists, as well as 3 turnovers. As a team, SDSU shooting 43.8%, 21 of 48 from the field, 9 of 25 for 36%, and 8 of 11 for 72.7% from the free throw stripe. 30 total rebounds, 11 assists, 9 turnovers, and 2 steals, and a total of 14 team fouls, also contributing to that Summit League season high of 30 combined team fouls called in a game. 2 lead changes, 1 tie, 2 lead changes and 1 tie in this game. 22 points in the paint for SDSU, 20 for St. Thomas, 10 points off the bench for SDSU, and 4 for St. Thomas. It was 28-25 at halftime, and a final score here of 59-49. South Dakota State is returning back to the Summit League Tournament Championship game. We're going to go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll preview it all for you and see what we're up against tomorrow. You're listening to Jackrabbit Men's Basketball on KSDJ.